Imagine you're sitting in the dark after the next big storm, the whole house silent, and you're wondering whether that pricey solar generator you've been eyeing will actually keep the lights on, charge your phones, and maybe even keep the fridge humming. I've been in that exact spot a few times, and before I spent a few $100s on a system, I did the deep dive any cautious buyer should. I compared the specs, read through the handful of reviews that existed, and tried to picture the real-world setup in my own garage. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing that trips most people up is the gap between headline numbers and daily reality. A 4800 Wh battery sounds like enough juice to power an entire house, but you quickly discover that a typical fridge cycles around 100 Wh per hour, a TV pulls 80 Wh, and a laptop charger is another 40-60 Wh. Multiply those by a night's worth of use and you're already near the system's sweet spot. If you're hoping to run a central AC unit or an electric stove, you'll hit the limits fast. That's why the biggest hesitation I hear is, will this actually cover my essentials, or am I just buying a glorified power bank? What makes the Nature's Generator Powerhouse Gold Plus different from a lot of the smaller portable units is the flexibility of how you can recharge it. The kit comes with 3 ways to put energy back into the battery: plugging into a standard wall outlet, hooking up to a car's 12V outlet, or using the 4410-watt solar panels that come in the package. In practice, that means if you have a sunny afternoon, you can get roughly 1.6 kilowatts of solar input, which will fill the 4800 Wh pack in about 3 to 4 hours under ideal conditions. Plug-in charging from AC is slower but reliable, while the car charger is a handy backup if you're on the road or your power outage coincides with a dead grid. Now, who should actually consider this system? If you live in a region where rolling blackouts are common, or you own a small cabin that isn't wired to a full-scale solar array, the Gold Plus offers a solid middle ground. It's big enough to keep a few critical appliances, refrigerator, lights, Wi-Fi router, maybe a low-power electric heater running for a night or two, and the pure sine wave output means sensitive electronics won't complain. For RV owners, the 120V and 240V pure sine wave outlets let you plug in a portable AC unit or a small workshop set of power tools without worrying about waveform distortion. And because the panels are included, you aren't forced to buy a separate array that could push the total cost even higher. On the flip side, the system isn't a fit for everyone. If your primary goal is to replace a whole house's power consumption, you'll find the 4800 Wh capacity limiting, especially when you factor in the inefficiencies of the inverter and the surge demands of appliances like a dishwasher or washing machine. The weight is another practical consideration. The battery unit itself tips the scales at roughly 140 pounds, and each of the 4 panels adds another 30 pounds. Moving the whole setup from a garage to the backyard isn't a one-person job. If you're looking for a lightweight backpack-friendly unit for weekend camping, you'll be better off with a smaller, less powerful model. One of the hidden trade-offs that only becomes clear after you start wiring everything together is the space required for the solar array. The 4410-watt panels measure about 5 feet by 3 feet each, so you need a roof or a clear patch of yard that gets unobstructed sunlight for most of the day. If you live in a densely built suburb where trees or neighboring houses cast shadows, you'll see a noticeable dip in charging speed. The system does include a charge controller that handles MPPT, which is efficient, but it can't conjure power out of a shaded panel. In terms of day-to-day usability, the control panel on the battery unit is fairly straightforward. You get a digital readout of remaining capacity, input power, and output load. I found the automatic shutdown feature useful. If you accidentally draw more than the inverter can handle, the system cuts power before it damages itself. That safety net is a practical strength because it prevents the dreaded "I blew the inverter" scenario that some cheaper units fall into. The dual voltage options, 120V and 240V, also give you flexibility. Run a small workshop welder on the 240V side without needing a separate converter, while keeping your home appliances on the standard 120V side. The downside that shows up in real use is the recharge time when you're relying solely on solar. Even on a bright day, hitting a full 4800 Wh from zero can take 4 to 5 hours, and that's assuming the panels are perfectly angled toward the sun. If the weather turns cloudy, you'll be back to plugging into the wall or the car, which can be inconvenient if you're in a prolonged outage with limited grid access.